Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. I'm so excited you're here. Come say hello in the chat. Hey, Marcy, Sarah, Kristen's here. So glad to see you, Jade and Jennifer, Jill, Donald's connecting. So happy you're all here. And we are streaming live on all the platforms. So hello to YouTube, Insta, Facebook. So glad to be with everybody today. It is Monday. It's July if you're watching and with us live. And a bunch of us on here today, a handful of us were just back from our Thought Leader adventure in France. So we have some really interesting things to discuss today, and you'll get to meet some of the amazing thought leaders who journeyed over to France. I'm so happy to see you all. I've missed you after we've been home for a week or so. And those of you who were not with us this time in France, we're excited to be back with you. We've missed you. We've been thinking about you. So if you're on Zoom, just make sure you're muted so that we have a clean recording for our live stream. And I'm going to just officially welcome everybody to the show, especially if you're new to the Thought Leader Lounge. I'm Sarah Cannell. I'm the founder of Thought Leader Academy, where we help incredible, amazing coaches and entrepreneurs and experts like you become best-selling authors, in-demand speakers, and leaders in your industry so that we can change lives and create incredible ripple effects of positive impact across the planet. So we're so happy that you're here. It's great to see you, and really excited to have a conversation we've never had on the lounge. We're going to talk about something today that I've never taught on, I've never talked about, and I'm going to have some of our thought leaders who we traveled together weigh in on this topic as well. And what we're going to get into today, we're just waiting on a couple more people in the Zoom room, is a tender conversation in some ways, I would say. And so just like maybe just all let's open, maybe kind of just take a breath into our hearts and just set an intention that you're going to hear something today that's going to change the trajectory of your week in a really positive direction. Like, are we ready to up vibe together? Like I miss being with you all on Mondays while we've been traveling. So I'm really excited to be here. And a couple quick announcements, just because we've got some amazing events coming up that some of you have asked us to remind you about. So this week, we have two events. On Wednesday, we have the Double Your Sales at in-person and online events. So if you are anyone that does webinars, masterclasses, retreats, if you do workshops, in-person conferences, any type of event, our team's going to drop the link here, and you can join us Wednesday for a very special workshop intensive. It's a full day where I'm going to give you my 9 power moves that have helped us create record-breaking sales at events. We have some of the highest stats in the industry right now, including, Tony Robbins and all kinds of people, right? So I'm going to give you the playbook, and we're going to do some really powerful work so that you can serve more people. And you can create more financial abundance, which you deserve, right? So you can invest in yourself and your vision. So that's happening Wednesday. The link is here. And Jill, if you can pop that onto the social platforms as well. So everybody who wants to can join us. There's the link. Also, on Thursday, we have the Health Wealth Connection Masterclass. I'm going to be joined by Thought Leader Academy member, Oracle member, Amanda Hinman. And we're going to be doing some really interesting work about the connection between focus on health and increasing our income, because there is a connection there that's really exciting, and also will help us feel better, live longer, just crush it, be in peak performance. So peak performance on sales Wednesday and on health on Thursday. Those are both coming up, and we are opening tomorrow registration to the Fall Women Starting Movements Retreat in Chicago, October 3, 4, and 5. And we are really excited to welcome you. And we're even going to give you the early link before anybody else gets it here in the lounge. So those are our upcoming events. They're going to rock. They're going to change our lives. We're going to be transformed. And we're going to lead into that with today's Thought Leader Lounge conversation. So how many of you have gone to an experience? You traveled to a retreat, you took a trip, you went to an event, and you felt like the best version of yourself. Just put me in the chat if you've had an experience where like this is the real me, right? Like you just felt alive and you felt expanded and you felt awakened and you were getting downloads and all these things, right? And it's such a delicious, it's honestly, I think it's my favorite feeling in life to get that kind of inspiration and expansion. And how many of you also have felt some turbulence in re-entering your regular life after such an event? So just put that in the chat if that, or in the comments if that's you. And I'm only looking down because I want to pull up the correct name to what I'm going to talk about here. Okay. So a lot of us have, right? It's a really common thing to be in this place, like we're away from routine, maybe certain people in our life, or away from all the obligations. And we go into I believe we go into our soul. We really step into the full greatness of who we are in these moments. And then there can be sometimes this tension between that experience and what we consider, normal life. So what we wanted to get into today is, what's at play in these euphoric experiences, if you will. What does integration look like? And then how do we keep the magic alive? How do we not let it feel like a compartmentalized experience where we were this way here and this way here? Because more and more, my regular life has become that life, right? More and more, I feel like there's things that, just are so exquisite and expand us, but that more and more we can live that experience in day to day. But how do we do it? And I'm going to invite our thought leaders who are in France with us to share how they're doing it. I think often of this book by Jack Kornfield, and I wonder if any of you have read it. It's called After the Ecstasy, the Laundry. And his point in this book is that we have these enlightenment experiences, this illuminant, spiritual, creative, artistic, rapturous experiences. And then just like what we're saying here, he was very aware that there would then just be like, what, I'm supposed to go do laundry? Like I've experienced God and now I'm going to go do the laundry, or I'm going to go like write this law brief, or I'm going to go, like drive and put gas in my car. Like it feels, Jay, do you have that book on your shelf? I love it. Awesome. It's a really good book. And so, I think that it creates pain if we think those are just out there experiences, like that we can't integrate and access. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're really going to have this conversation of how do we keep the magic alive? How do we let the expansion become the new normal? Understanding that, yes, are we going to have certain moments when there's peak experiences, like, walking down the streets of Paris or Saint-Tropez the last few weeks, like it's different than walking down the streets of Chicago or Delaware, Ann Arbor, or, wherever we are, right? But there is a way to not just feel like it's a light switch that goes either on or off. And that's what I really want to get into. So let's go ahead and Sarah V, would you just share like really just a minute of, maybe what the experience in France was like for you, kind of what opened up, what was a high point, and then let's talk about what integration has looked like since you've been back.
Yeah, so I love this subject and I really wanted to share my experience, but I mean, France was amazing. But what I noticed differently is that my energy is so high when I'm, even at home, that when I go and travel to a new place, I try to keep my exact routine as much as I can. I'm over there. And so there isn't that kind of influx of energy. I didn't notice any low vibration upon my return because my energy was so high. It is so high when I'm at home that there's not yes, the change of scenery, of course, but I feel like this time the incredible energy that I was feeling in France integrated into my soul while I was there. And when I came home, I was able to stay really high. You know, journaling helped because I got to get home and read all the experiences that happened. And also I bought little mementos from France, and I love doing sacred spacing. So I kind of integrated all the lovely things that yes, exactly. I have like, and I did yesterday was a really rainy day. So I spent the whole day, I call it sacred spacing. And I, created this abundant, feeling throughout, because of course your outside environment, your journaling is all about energy. So I didn't really have the low vibration because I feel like my, there wasn't the influx because, I love being at home and creating, amazing experiences as well as being away. So
that's beautiful. So I think one of the things, I'm just going to pull each of you that share, I'm going to pull nuggets from what I'm hearing. And a really cool nugget here is to make what we come home to and we come back to as rich and yummy. Because I love, like, I'm really in love with my house. It's sort of the same of like, ooh, I'm back in like this space, which I love. And then, but then we cooked like, Marcy, I recreated the Parmesan wheel, like I cooked one of the best dishes that we had. I like did a recreation. So Sarah, thank you for that. And I love, you're modeling like the more we can love where we are, both from an environmental, energetic standpoint, the less hard it is to, it can be fun to go and it can be fun to come home. Ideally, that's what we want.
But I mean, would I rather be in France? I mean,
oh, yeah, exactly. And the other thing is like, also, I wonder for you, Sarah, and I'll ask everybody this, whatever, if all of you who are watching, it's like, whether it was a trip, a retreat, a conference, some experience, how can we build more of that into our lives? So it's not a once in a lifetime experience. It's when's the next one, in a way, too. And Sarah, I know you do that and you're leading a group to Egypt, and you have, you've got like a lot of, your daughter's getting married in the south of France. You will be back in France.
Yes.
So
yeah,
really good.
So,
really
and if anybody is on the shelf next time, oh my God, it's so much fun. So, so much connection, but yeah, so thank you for allowing me to share.
Oh my God. I'm so grateful that you were there and that it's feeling good. And Sarah, is there any, I apologize, my sound was weird for a minute at the beginning. So if you said this, you say it again for my benefit. Is there anything that is going to happen in your life that wouldn't have happened? Like, did you get a new idea for something? Is there something, because that's the other way that it can live on, is like, if we get a inspiration that we're then taking action on and implementing when we get back. So curious, anything like that.
There wasn't something specific, but what I know, it's coming. Like what experience, but I mean, I'm feeling completely different since I've been back, and like I'm now taking new steps towards, my future and, future pacing, future pulling. But, and the whole time I was there, I was looking for whatever it was. And I remember you saying, the moment you let go of what you're trying, oh my God, what is happening here? The moment you let go of what you're actually searching for is when it actually comes to you. So I've let go, and now it's just like, I feel completely different. So that is what I took away.
Yes. Your energy is the thing that's different. Your comfort.
I can't like stop. I can't contain the excitement and the flow that I've been feeling since I've been back. Oh my God, there's like so many noises. So
I love it. Well, Sarah, thank you. Can we give Sarah some love for jumping up on the lounge? And so everybody in the comments or the chat, what resonated for you from that part of the share? Was there something there that you can think about, like the last expansive experience? I know when we get together for our twice a year retreats, like, we've got our one coming up. We had New Orleans in May, we have Chicago in October. So, like, just notice to yourself, is there an experience you had a while back that you want to like reawaken this week? Is there a way to wake it back up? And Marcy, will you come up and share like a little bit about the trip for you and what's different, how you've been integrating?
Yes, ma'am. Happy to do that. Nice to see your Sarah's beautiful face. It's miss you guys. That was a good segue because I was sort of the opposite. I am always in my element when I'm traveling. I'm always in the moment, I'm curious, I'm energized, I'm focused. And then I've had in the past coming back home and feeling the same routine and get busy with life and like, oh, do I have to do the laundry eventually, you know?
Yeah.
And so my commitment to myself this trip was to hold on to that. So how to bring it home. And I've done it and doing it in different ways. The clothes I'm wearing.
Yes. Marcy, can we talk about like the transformation we did through like what we're putting on our body? Are you cool if we share a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
So, you know, one of the ways that we all know, we've read a billion books, most of you watching this, right? Books about you have to feel it to manifest it, or you have to embody it to create it. You have to be the vision to receive the vision. And there's so many fun ways that we do, you know, all the time here, future polls and we, you know, write it and journal. But for me, at least, it has been very, very powerful, probably more so than I ever understood, to actually put on physically on my vessel here, you know, the attire of the vision, right? So versus going, oh, someday, you know, when I've told you all about, I wrote about this in one of my books. I had a client who was a realtor, and she said, well, if I was on Oprah, here's how I dress. And so she kind of had this aha where she's like, well, why wouldn't I dress like I was going on Oprah every day if I want to really be like the top realtor in the area or whatever? So she just filled her closet with Oprah outfits. That's what she called them. She's like, I could walk on to the set, and she started attracting so many new investors and clients and referrals because she had this magnetic energy, because she was like, I got to be ready to walk on, you know, the set of Oprah, which was her favorite, you know, place. So Marcy, what was that like for you to use what you're wearing? Like the suitcase you came with wasn't the suitcase you left.
I was totally going to be like, and I had to buy a new suitcase, which is the bright orange color, because I bought so many things in Paris and in Saint-Tropez that I needed to get a new suitcase. And it's been good because, you know what happened in France was that my essence came back out, and she was so happy to get to do that. And it's the woman I'm stepping into. So of course I should dress that way. And it's been a really easy, fun way to remember who I actually am and who I'm growing into, right?
Yeah.
It's clothes. I got these rings. If my little Eiffel Tower is on my coffee table along with the Saint-Tropez books. And even like the salt, you know, we had that delicious real salt at dinner. I bought a little tin of it and I brought some home, and that's on my counter. So it's really, I think, about remembering who I am.
Yeah.
And allowing that person to come forth, not from a place of shoulds or a place of past, but what do I feel like putting on my body today? And how does that align with my joy? And that's really it, I think, is remembering that I have a joyful spirit and not get dimmed or allow myself to dim myself when I come back. So it's been very fun to play with clothes and jewelry.
I mean, you are radiating. Can we all see Marcy, just like the color and the shine and the inner and outer radiance? It's so beautiful to witness. And, you know, I could feel us all as a group too. You know, Lori's going to share in a minute. She's there. And, you know, Lori, like, just, it changes again, our posture. Like we know power posing changes actually our hormones and our neurochemical receptors. And so what we wear affects then how we stand. And this isn't about focusing on the material, right? If you're a person who, you know, doesn't like, it's not about, you know, there's a way. What is it though that you are using as an anchor to your subconscious every day, right? And Marcy, that's what I'm witnessing you and Lori, Kristen, Sarah, myself, you know, those of us that are on from the trip. And so what I want to ask everybody who's watching, like, is what you're wearing right now a match to the vision that you're calling in? And we can just check in with, like, I was going to put on, I had like a tank top on earlier because I was just doing some stuff, getting ready. And I really like it. Like, I like the feel of it. The cotton was soft, but I didn't feel like I'm finishing a book this week. That's something that's happened since I got back from France. I just went into like a gear. I have not written this much in this amount of time in my life. I've been writing hours a day. I don't have time. I run 2 businesses. I came back from a trip. Like, there's no time, but it's happening anyway. And so there was like that quantum leap sort of being able to stretch time that opened up for me for this travel. And it's like, this felt more like the person writing that next bestseller to me than and I'll put the tank top on when I go out and go strength train later, it's like, that's fine. So what I just want to ask everybody, like, and it isn't about, oh, every minute I have to dress up or anything, but are you vibrationally lining up with the vision in some way? Do you have a physical, like Marcy has the salt that reminds her of like, I deserve the most delicious, exquisite, like full grain, like that's my favorite kind. And that's what we have here too, So Marcy, is there anything else? Jill, if you can pop Marcy back up, is there anything else, Marcy, that's different now? Like, is there a new action is there anything else that you're like, because I expanded there, this is what I'm doing differently here?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I before the trip, I was pretty open to what wanted to come in, and I've had body, mind, spirit shifts. So body, you see, we've talked about it. Mind, I have a different book in the works now, and it's fun and it energizes me. And I have timeline now, which thank you for the accountability check on that, because now some concrete pieces to that. So I've been getting the downloads, I've been writing, and I've been making forward motion there. And like you said, despite everything's going on, it doesn't matter. Like this is and then that's transforming and translating over into spirit. And I am maintaining the momentum. I did want this trip to be transformational, not just a blip. So all the other components of my life I can see are moving in the way that I want them to. And it's consciously intentional that I will be this person from here on out. And that doesn't mean it's easy all the time. Doesn't mean I'm late or busy or whatever. It means like this, I remembered who I was. I'm showing back up for myself.
Yes.
For all so.
Yes, let's give Marcy some love, everybody. Isn't that beautiful, right? Remembering it, because that's what expansion is just coming back to our soul. I really believe it's come back to who've always been here to be. And Lori, will you come on up? Lori Lay Bell Humor, gonna come up to the Thought Leader Lounge stage. And Lori, you caught the end, you caught that piece of Marcy's, right? Like we talked about how we're dressing differently, or we're thinking differently, or we're in spirit, but Marcy kind of broke down her body, mind, spirit. What did the trip open up for you?
Well, first of all, I want to say it was an honor and privilege to stay at the same hotel as Marcy. There was so much energy there. I even have chills thinking about it. And I shopped where she shopped. And at the moment, I just wanted to rush on here. So I just came from the gym and got on Zoom, and I'm heading back. So I'm just here for a second.
Perfect.
But it was really, it was also for me very transformational. I just see Marcy glowing, and I see, other people who are here on the call. And it was, so I'm not sure I'm answering your question, but I want to say that I came back and found 3 new income streams. I went into massive action like you, and I'm like well on my way to finishing my 3rd book already. Like the second one's at the publisher, the 3rd one is happening like right now. I'm using a ghostwriter for it, and so I just said, here we go. So.
Amazing. Can we take that in with Lori, everybody? Like, again, the member of my team said, oh my God, you got back and you're like, I wrote a new funnel, you're finishing your book in 10 days. I was like, yeah, game on. It got filled up, lit up. And Lori, 3 new income streams, 3rd book, you've got a plan. You're even doing a who, not how, so that you can leveraging your time. I mean, it's incredible. So is there, and thank you for jumping back for the gym and going on. Is there, that's already so much. Is there anything else you want to say about re-entry, or how to take the expansion that we experience and let it live on as you're doing it in a big way.
So it was really, again, chills, because it put me in a state of surrender, when I came back. And it was, it was like the energy of being around all of these beautiful souls while we were, in Paris. It was, in some regards, like getting back was like, oh, I run an 8-figure business aside from, writing books and all of these other things. So it came back and just, hit the ground running. But the other thing was that just in surrender, not only did I find 3 new income streams, but I was gifted, a significant investment in me, also when I came back. And so it was just really, again, complete surrender and letting go. I am able to let go of the outcome. And I have never been able to do that before because I always pull back control. So that was really what it was like for me. And just,
Incredible.
meditation, the mindset work and remembering, just like such a heart for Marcy and everybody else that was there. I just,
Yes.
So that's what it was like for me.
Huge. Thank you. And I know you've got a meeting, so we're just so grateful you could pop on and share. So who's won with that? Who wants 3 new income streams and next book underway? And congratulations, Lori. It's so powerful. It's powerful to also, I think, let go when at least for when I get out of routine, I travel. It's like we just really see how free we really are. And I think, Lori, you specialize in, you're a PhD, you're teaching resilience, trauma survivors. I think surrender is one of the hardest things for us.
Yes.
At least it has been for me. And so to have you model that and say that was something that was more accessible to you, because that's how I felt that as well. So really great. So
great. So good to see you. All right. So good to see your lovely faces.
Yes.
Court. So anyway, I'll see you later. Thanks.
Yeah. See you later. So good. So put in the chat, if those of you that are on, as we bring up a couple of other of our thought leaders who were in France with us, just put any questions you have, whether they're on this topic of integration after an expansion experience, whether it's about transformational travel, whether it's about how you live the vision now. And then Kenny, yay, Kenny's here. So Kenny, if you want to pop up, if team, you want to bring Kenny up, and Kenny, we're sharing about like what, just a minute on like what the trip opened up for us, and then what has reintegration looked like what is okay, now I had these new experiences, and then how do they continue like opening up new things in my life? So anything you want to share on that? It's great.
Oh, yes, thank you so much. Well, I'm so happy to be here. And things that open up, we talk about so often, like we do abundance work and we do dream work, and we like look at our vision and we look at our goals, and we do our best usually to immerse ourselves in it, right? Like having that, it's so much more than just positive thinking alone, right? It's like positive feeling, and it's like positive embodiment. And for me personally, the trip itself was such a bucket list experience. Like it was just a bucket list thing. I have it written down somewhere. Like I will go to Paris, and I will, right? And so when you look at those things you write down and then you experience them, it gives you even more reason to go, you know what? The stuff that I've been doing, it actually does work.
Yeah.
And I just go ahead and give myself permission to continue doing it. And I think for me personally, being someone who I've lived my entire life dreaming and envisioning, and this about me, Sarah, but for those who don't, I had a really rough, really challenging upbringing. And in order to survive it, I had no choice but to imagine and pretend that I was going to become this human that was going to help other humans. Mm-hmm. And I was going to become this human that turned, and I'll never forget, there was this moment where I said, those who suffer greatly are meant for greatness. And I told myself that when I was 17, to keep myself alive and to keep myself going. And so I envisioned myself doing things like writing a book. I envisioned myself doing things like helping other people, not necessarily being the one to like bippity boppity boo them into healing, but to be a person who could hold space for them and sit with them, maybe on their darkest day or in their worst moment, and to help them also make the decision to grow and to thrive and to take whatever they've experienced and turn it into something magical.
Yeah.
And I think when we do any sort of work where we're visioning, right, or where we're positive thinking, or we're forecasting and all of those to find that direction and keep us going on the direction we want to go, it's also easy to become complacent. And I think I became a little complacent to the point where I was like, oh, but I already know how to do that. I already know that I should be listening to guided meditations. I already know to write out the list of what I'm calling in. I already know that to do a vision board. And so I can literally show you at the moment, my vision board's empty.
Yeah.
And so I think that I sometimes, like anything, right? You learn how to play piano, you stop practicing. You already know how to sing, so you might still sing in the shower, but you stop practicing or stop expanding your craft, expanding your skill. And so for me, the integration has been, let me make sure that I don't just allow the vortex that we created in Paris and the vortex that I've created in my life of what's possible for me. Let me not just allow it to sit somewhere in a closet or behind a curtain. Let me bring it forward and let me continue to practice the art of visioning, like envisioning, of questing, of writing it out, of let me come back to the practices. Yes, they've worked for me in the past, but it doesn't mean, and maybe some people maybe can just think something and it manifests in 5 seconds in their living room, and that's fantastic. That's not necessarily me. And I know that there's a lot of beauty in the journey, right? And there's a reason for the gap. But I can throw a little adult temper tantrum now and then and be like, why isn't it mine yet?
Yes.
And I believe that's normal. So what integration has really looked like for me has been this I've recommitted myself to seeing the magic, the beauty, the abundance in my everyday life, even when it doesn't feel that way. Remembering that the fact that I have teeth is a gift, and the fact that I have legs is a gift, and the fact that I have skin that protects me, from so many of the elements is a gift versus, feeling all my nerves exposed. Sometimes it feels that way living as a human, but you know what I mean? And then making time to practice, making space for my vision and for abundance in the morning or in the evening, and drinking my coffee like the badass that I am.
Yeah.
Coming back to that. And so integration has been, oh yes, like let's do this work on a regular basis and try to avoid that complacency that I think is so easy for us as just busy humans to get into.
Yeah, Kenny, thank you. Thank you for speaking so deeply into the journey, and also like and I love it's kind of like when we go, oh yeah, drinking water is good, but are we drinking the water? Oh yeah, getting 8 hours of sleep, it's so important, and we're getting 5. And because we know something is different than do it. A mentor was always like, knowing it and doing it, Sarah, very different things. So what I really hear is that like your practices, your rituals of embodiment, expansion, abundance, vision are more alive, is what I'm hearing. They're more like, a focus versus like, yeah, I know those things, I've done them and they work, right? So really good. It was such an honor to be with you and everybody. I mean, I'll treasure forever. There's so many like moments where they're just running through my brain of us, cheersing at the Eiffel Tower at midnight when it lights up, and walking down the, banks of the Seine and masterminding. I mean, there's just so many moments of like breakthrough and that's going to keep revealing itself, right? I think for all of us, whether you were, with us in France or you had another experience that you're recollecting like this, it's alive, it's in ourselves. Trauma, we're like, oh, cellular memory. Well, guess what? Like expansion and ecstasy and abundance and growth is also a cellular memory, right? And so so thrilled, Kenny, so thrilled for you, thrilled for the writing that's coming through. We all went being a Cafe de Flore and writing where Hemingway wrote, and doing that I like, again, there's just so many moments that I'm like, that they just keep like opening my heart. It's like little heart squeezes. So thank you for bringing your light. Thank you for sharing here. And will you come back and share what goes on the vision board when you feel inspired for it to reveal what wants to go on there next?
Oh, absolutely. And thank you so much for letting me share. And yes, I absolutely will, because there's something so powerful in somebody else knowing what you're doing, that accountability, right? So
For
if I
sure.
show you, it's so much more likely for me to go, oh, let
Like,
me stay in aligned
yes,
action.
I'm actually doing this. I mean, this is Brendan Burchard, Make It Social. You know, when I told everyone in our community, like, I'm finishing the book in the next 10 days, like, do you think I'm not going to do that? No, that book is going to be done this week. It will be done, because I'm not going to say that and then like be out of integrity, right? So it's so powerful to share. So thank you, Kenny. Come back with the board. We'll be doing lots of, vision stuff the rest of this year, and so happy to see you. Thank you. So good, everybody. So put any questions, if you're on Zoom in our sort of VIP lounge, put any questions you have here in the chat or on social, put them in the comments, so we can answer. We've got a little bit more time on the lounge today. And so what I'm going to ask everybody who's here in the room is, what did you need to hear today that's going to make a difference this week? Is it about something you're going to put on your body? Is it about, you're going to bump up your visioning practice? Is it you're gonna, we had someone message and say, can I get on the list for next year's trip? Yes. So if you want to say, I'm going on the next Thought Leader Adventure 2024, just let us know that you want to be on the list. Courtney, surrender. Beautiful. Yeah. That it gets to be surrender. It's the most powerful energy. Marcy, knowing is different than doing. Yep. And it's doing time. So good. And the visual cues, is there something from a, Tony Robbins event, or when you went to hear Michelle Obama speak? So I had this experience, this couldn't be a more like cheesy thing to get in Paris, right? It's an Eiffel Tower, but it lights up. I know that we have the lights and you can't see it like totally flashing, but my inner child thinks this is like the most fun and loves it so much that it sparkles and lights up and everything. So, but I've had this experience in Santa Fe once where, and then up in the coast of Wales when I was doing shamanic work, both of which were very artistically and spiritually expanding experiences for me. And usually at some point towards the end of my time, I'll have like an experience where in Santa Fe, it was like the mountains actually talk to me. Okay. So you can listen to this and be like, what a nut job. And that's totally cool. But if you've ever been someone that's had one of those experiences where like, nature can talk, right? Like we know, and so I had this experience once in Santa Fe where I got really creatively expanded, and the mountains had this sort of message for me. And when I was up doing the shaman work in England and Wales, the trees in this deep forest, we went on a vision quest where it was all day, no food, no water, no journal, no phone, no, it's just like you get out and be with yourself. And this is terrifying for most of us, right? Oh my God, what? And there was no plant-based medicine. This was just straight up, like there was no ayahuasca or anything. It wasn't that type of retreat. So it was just straight up normal. You're just in the forest for hours, and the trees definitely speak at a certain point. And what shocked me in Paris, because we're in a city, right? We weren't doing like a nature experience necessarily, was that the Eiffel Tower actually like spoke, and it was a message about taking up space. And it was a message about absolutely shining and radiating the biggest possible light, and a lot of people don't like the Eiffel Tower. It's a really good message about being a thought leader, honestly, to me, where, there are people like, oh God, so touristy, so stupid. You've got your haters. And then you have your people who are like, wow, light, sparkles, the bigness, I think of it like a lighthouse, right? It's a light in the darkness, right? And that has always been an important spiritual symbol for me. And so this unapologetically taking up space. And so I don't know if anyone here needed to hear that today, but that was another reason I have this, where, this structure, some people like it, some people don't. It attracts and repels. And yet it does not dim its light. And on the hour, in the darkest hours of the day, the glitter and the sparkles and the lights go up, and to me that brought me tremendous joy. And so it's like we will bring the joy, the hope, the light to those that we're here to serve. And that was one of the big messages there, which was so unexpected. It's like, it's a monument. I've been to Paris many, many, many times. It wasn't like my first time. And what I will finish on for today is that the signs are always here. You know, when we were in Paris doing our formal vision quest, it was one of the most powerful ones I've ever done. Again, I've been in the north of England with shamans. I've been in the mountains in Arizona. I've been in vortexes. I've been on fault lines. I've been to some of the most incredible energetic places in the world. And I didn't have any expectation I was going to have some big revelation vision quest in Paris because it's a city and I was facilitating it, you know, whatever. I just didn't have an idea. And again, that's what Sarah V was talking about. When you're not looking for it, you know, it comes. And what I really got was the minute we just say, I'm available for guidance. I'm available to see what's been in front of me the whole time that I haven't seen. I'm available to surrender to whatever the next vision is, that it's always happening. If you read The Alchemist, you know, read the signs, read the omens, like we're always on a vision quest. It's just normally I'm checking my phone and what do I have to do next on the to-do list? And okay, versus in a conscious, intentional state of I'm ready to receive support, messages, clarity, inspiration, guidance, healing. And it is here. It is always here. So if you didn't get something yet out of the lounge today, if nothing was necessarily like feeling like a personal message for you, I offer to just between now and bedtime, just say, time you go to sleep, like I'm available to receive an affirmation, a sign, guidance. And yeah, and we surrender to that. And so let's maybe do that together. I'm just feeling it right now. Let's just maybe take a breath and just open up right here without traveling anywhere, without going anywhere, without any other external factor. That right where we are, the magic is. The clarity, the support, the guidance, the manifestation, the money miracle, the health miracle, the love miracle. So just let's end by opening and surrendering to the next miracle. And maybe bring a smile to your face and give yourself a stretch. Oh, so good. So good. And thank you for joining us in the lounge. We'll be back on live again noon next Monday with another really rich, deep discussion. And please do share with us what resonated and share if you create a vision quest for yourself right in the middle of your normal everyday life. Ecstasy, laundry, it's all here for us. I'm so honored to be on the journey with you all, to continue the journey this week. And I hope to see you Wednesday for doubling your sales at events, Thursday for health and wealth, and then back next week for the Thought Leader Lounge. See you all there. Bye, everybody. Have a great one.